It is August 1991. Metallica take to the stage in a country that wouldn't exist only 4 months from now. It was the last date of a 2-month-long European tour with some of the greatest bands around. AC/DC, arguably the largest band on the planet at that time, topping the bill, followed by Metallica, the Black Crowes and Pantera. The tour had visited some of the largest stadiums, parks and airfields in the world, with various lineup changes along the way, but the main 2 acts staying the same, including the hallowed ground of Donington Racecourse, where the Monsters of Rock festival first started in 1980. The USSR was on the brink of collapse. A lot of people knew this, so the organisers of the festival decided to ask the USSR if they could host a day of music, something the Soviet Union would have been strongly against only a few years prior, despite having a large underground metal and rock community. The government agreed. As things were already such a mess, they decided a large music gathering was a great way to distract the youth of the population from the collapsing of their once great empire. The date was set, a free concert branded as Monsters in Moscow, to take place at the Tishino airfield on September 27, 1991. It's worth noting here that a similar large concert with a very different array of headliners had been in the works for a large portion of 1991, with headliners reportedly supposed to have been the Rolling Stones and Bob Dylan among others. It was going to be dubbed the International Freedom Festival. However, after many bands dropped out and the event was plagued with many other issues, it was cancelled. However, a large free event did take place, even though it was in a completely different location and a completely different set of bands. The Soviet youth would not be left without, as on September the 28th they were treated to what is regarded as one of the greatest metal concerts to have ever occurred. So the 28th arrived. Entry to this mammoth concert was free. Alcohol was not sold on the premises, though still permitted if you brought your own. No one was checking bags on entry to the site. A popular Russian magazine at the time stated, "Lots of people were drunk. They were just laying there, dead to the world for the whole concert. Believe me, a real metalhead wouldn't have let himself get that drunk on such an important day and slept through his favourite band's show." According to the Moscow City Police Department, the size of the crowd at the Tishino airfield reached 300,000 people by noon and soared to nearly 500,000 people by the evening. Organisers estimated that the festival actually drew an audience of more than 700,000 people. To oversee the event, there were 11,000 soldiers, police officers, hired security guards, and riot police. Reports from the time put the actual attendance of the show between 500,000 to 1.6 million people. As it was not a ticketed event and people were free to walk in, so the official number of attendees will unfortunately never be known. The first band to play was the American metal band Pantera, performing what by Soviet standards was an extremely aggressive set and immediately setting the concert's tone. Towards the end of their set, fights broke out at the edges of the stage. The police tried to disperse the crowd and drive attendees away from the barricades. The police, military, and hired guards started to use force to try and calm the crowd. This didn't work, instead aggravated the Soviet youth further. During the famous film For Those Who Are About to Rock, Monsters in Moscow, during Pantera's set, which snippets can be seen here, you can clearly see clashes between men in uniform and concert goers. I think it's safe to say the powers that be were not prepared for the kind of show Pantera would bring and had never seen such a brutally raw performance before. To avoid injuries and deaths, producers from Time Warner were prepared to take extreme measures and even stop the show. Boris Zozimov stated, "The situation is out of control. If you want to see the other groups perform, calm down." Zozimov asking that they cease all disturbances. Troitsky wrote in an article for Rolling Stone, "In any case, by 4 or 5 o'clock, music wasn't the issue, violence was. I saw no less than a dozen bleeding people, a couple of policemen among them. I saw police cruelly beating up kids with or without a reason. I saw a rain of empty glass bottles thrown at police lines from the audience. I saw soldiers kicking a guy lying on the ground with their monstrous boots. They had only one aim: oppression and retribution." The Black Crowes came to the stage and managed to calm tensions between the crowd and the police with their softer blues rock sound. And then a Russian band took the stage, Electroshock Therapy. They played a set of only Russian songs and were the only band from the country to play on the day. By the time Metallica took to the stage, most of the disturbances had calmed, and everyone was ready for one of the main bands to grace the stage in Russia for the first time of what would be many times playing the country. They opened with Enter Sandman, their smash hit from their new self-titled album, or more commonly referred to as the Black Album, and arguably one of their best. The roar from the crowd was a sight to behold, even for Metallica, who by this point were used to playing large-scale concerts. But this was another level, something that had not been seen before by any rock, metal or blues band at this point in history. As you can see from the footage from their set, helicopters flying overhead, some members of the military had abandoned their post to just enjoy the day. James Hetfield states, "Down at the front, there were these guys in uniforms. It was police, military, same thing, you know. So they're standing there in their uniforms, and after like 3 or 4 songs, they're like, fuck this. And they took off their stuff, and they're out there headbanging, having a good time." Metallica concluded their set with Battery, a fast-paced thrash metal masterpiece to end what would still be to this day their biggest concert of their career, and I'm sure one of the most memorable. After a short pause, AC/DC took to the stage and did what they have always done best. A 2-hour set filled with large naked inflatable women, fireworks, a true headline performance from one of the largest rock bands at the time to the largest crowd at the time. The set was that well received, Boris Yeltsin, the Soviet Union's head of state, invited them back, coming onto Thunderstruck and leaving the crowd with "Those who are about to rock, we salute you." The concert will forever be remembered by the 90s youth of the Soviet state, and is somewhat pinned as an event that helped bring down the Iron Curtain and bridging gaps between cultures and countries. Not just one of the greatest concerts to take place on this rock we call planet Earth, but one of the biggest cultural events to have ever occurred. According to Moscow City Police records, 51 individuals were hospitalized during the festival, 49 were detained for disturbing the peace, and about 100 were sent to the drunk tank. Exact figures on the total number of injuries at the concert are not available. It's a miracle no one was killed, with the large-scale disorganization allowing glass bottles on the site and the Soviet military's aggression at the start of the day. But I guess it just goes to show the Soviet youth wanted this concert that much, they were not willing to jeopardize it by rioting, and I think we are all better off for that. The film Monsters in Moscow will live on forever, and the Soviet youth who attended will never forget the day Time Warner actually did something decent. Rock on, everyone, and in the words of the Russian people, Nostrovia. Please don't forget to like and subscribe for more content. I'm planning on weekly uploads every Monday from this moment on, so don't forget to like and subscribe, hit that bell for the latest Rockumentary. Thanks guys, stay safe, and remember, if someone falls down, pick them up.